Hi everyone, I'm Rincey and this is Rincey Reads. If any of you guys follow me on Twitter or Tumblr or Instagram, you may have seen that I went to New York this past weekend and I was able to do a lot of book related things which made me really happy, so I thought I would tell you guys about it, especially since I went to the last day of BEA, so I'll just be going through all of the different book related things that I attended over the past weekend, and then I will just be showing you the different book related things that I acquired over the weekend. On a Thursday night, there was a Tumblr / book event at a New York bookstore. This bookstore is really amazing. If you're in New York, definitely check it out. It's called Housing Works. This is a nonprofit bookstore that works for people who are suffering with HIV and AIDS. This is a really great bookstore. I definitely think people should check it out if you guys live in the city or are visiting the city. There were 3 authors at this event. First up was Ruth Barron, and then it was Elliot Schreffer, and then finally was Rainbow Rowell. The first 2 authors just kind of told fun little stories about themselves, and then Rainbow Rowell finished off the night and she read from her new book Fangirl, as well as talked about it, of course. And then afterwards I got to meet her and I had her sign the 2 books that I own by her, Attachments and Eleanor and Park. This is the signature in Attachments, and this is the signature in Eleanor and Park. Now, I have to say, if you have ever wanted to get some of your friends in love with some of the books that you love, definitely take them to author readings and signings, because I took 2 friends with me who are readers, but they're not like crazy like I am, and so after they saw all 3 of the authors speak, they were basically interested in all 3 of them, and I let one of my friends borrow Eleanor and Park during the trip, and she ended up reading it in basically a day and now completely loves this book and loves Rainbow Rowell. So I highly suggest going to author readings and signings if you have the opportunity, and then bring your friends with you who may not be as big of a reader as you are. And then the next bookish related thing that I did was on Saturday morning I went to BEA as a power reader. This is a relatively new thing. I think they started it last year. BEA is something that's mainly for people who work in the industry, either bookstores, librarians, or people who work in publishing and bloggers, but they open it up on the last day this year to anyone who just considers themselves a reader and a lover of books. We got to BEA pretty early because the first, I think, 500 people who showed up as a power reader got a tote bag full of books from McMillan, which I will show in a minute. And then we went and got in line to see Neil Gaiman. We were probably one of the first 100 people there, and we wanted to get there early because they said that the first 500 people, I think, were getting free autographed books from Neil Gaiman. We definitely got there early. We got really close seats. It was amazing. Neil Gaiman was amazing, and he actually signed 1,000 books, so that way everyone got 2 books from him. We got a copy of his graduation speech, Make Good Art, and he, of course, autographed the inside. And then we got an arc of his new children's book, Fortunately the Milk, and again, it's autographed. If I can find the title page. There we go. So he was literally signing these in the hour or so before the speech happened, which was really amazing and just shows what a pro he is at this point of making his own signature. And then after we saw Neil Gaiman, we basically just went straight upstairs and we just waited to hear Jim Gaffigan speak. He read a little bit from his book, Dad is Fat, and then he took questions from the audience, and my friend asked a question and answered her question, which was great. This is the one problem that I kind of had with BEA. Basically, Jim Gaffigan was talking on the downtown stage. If you know BEA, I mentioned that. And so he was on the stage, and there's like a little barrier around the area with chairs inside. A couple minutes before Jim Gaffigan gets on stage to speak, one of the people working BEA or volunteering there comes on stage and is like, okay, Jim Gaffigan's gonna be autographing copies of his book for you guys after he speaks, so this is just first come first serve, and I have these little cards, so just come and grab them. So people just like run up there and grab the little cards. No big deal, whatever. Everyone basically gets a card that's there. After he's done speaking, everyone runs to get in line to get the book and the autograph, and the way things went, it just wasn't very organized how they did it. And then they didn't even have enough books for him to autograph for the amount of people got the cards. And it just made me really confused because why would you give out more cards than you have books? I wouldn't have waited in that really long line if there wasn't enough books for everyone, or if there wasn't enough books for me. What they should have done is just count the amount of books that they have and then hand out that many cards. But it just seemed really disorganized and not very well thought out to hand out more cards than there were books. And then after that, BEA was basically over. I think by the time that finished, it was maybe like 2 o'clock already. And so we kind of wandered around the convention center looking at all of the different booths and the different publishers. And it was all just really overwhelming. We didn't really know what to do. Like when we were wandering around, especially, a lot of booths were already starting to pack up, which was a little bit sad because we didn't really get to see a whole lot. I only picked up 2 things. First was an arc of Men We Reaped by Jesmyn Ward. She won the National Book Award for Salvage the Bones, which I own, but I haven't read yet. Having this just makes me want to read that one more, and this one comes out in September. So I have a feeling I'm gonna read Salvage the Bones over the summer, and then I will read this one in September when the book comes out so I can review it. And then the other thing that I ended up picking up is a copy of Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, the graphic novel. Well, this is just an excerpt, but I didn't realize they were making a graphic novel out of this, and I was just wondering, there were people holding it up, and I like looked at it and I was like, oh, I didn't know that was gonna be a graphic novel. I'll grab a copy. So I went to go get one from the person, and they're like, oh, do you want to get it autographed? The author's right over there. And so they had like this big display behind them, so I kind of like peeked behind the display, and Ransom Riggs was there. So I went and I got my copy autographed, and I knew he was going to be there on Saturday, but in my head I thought he was doing his autograph session during one of the speeches, but I think I just caught like the tail end of it because there were like 5 people in that line. I didn't even have to wait for like a minute. The graphic novel is really well designed, and you know, the book is known for the photographs, and it includes the photographs in the graphic novel, which is pretty cool. Now, out of the tote bag that McMillan gave us, there were a lot of books in there, and there are probably only 4 that I'm actually kind of interested in. The first is Brandon Sanderson's The Way of the Kings, which is a fantasy novel, and it's ginormous, but one of my friends is really into fantasy novels, and I asked him if he had read this because I thought I could give it to him as a gift, but he already read it, and he said it's really good though, so I think I might actually give this one a chance and see if I like it. But like for reals, it's over 1,000 pages long, so that's gonna take a while. Then I got The Nightmare by Lars Kepler, which seems like a thriller type book, but I'm not really sure. But I kind of really like the design on this book, so I'm just interested to check this one out. Then I got a copy of Havisham by Ronald Frame. I don't know how that's how you pronounce it, which is a novel that comes out in November, so I'll probably be reading it close to when it comes out. And then I got Jenna Bibley's Excellent Fortunes. Those are the novels that came with it. There were a couple other things and books that came with it that I'm not completely interested in, so I think I might just give them away to bookstores, but they were just included in the bag, so it's not even like I had the choice of picking them up. And then on my very last day in New York City, I ended up going to this Strand Bookstore. Of course, it's a necessary visit for anyone who loves books and is in New York, and so I was very proud of myself for not going crazy. I think I was just really overwhelmed by the amount of books in that store that I ended up not going crazy, and also I can't really buy more books because I have so many. But I ended up picking up one book, which is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, and I've already read this a while ago, but I just never owned it. So I'm excited to have this copy because it's really nice. It has like these flowers painted on it, which is really beautiful, and the spine is just really simple. It's originally like $14, I think is the list price, but it was only like $6, which is great. And then I really wanted a mug because that's just how I am. So I got this mug, which, if you can see, has different authors on there dressed as superheroes. Shakespeare's right in the center. There's Jane Austen, Dante, Charlotte Bronte, and lots of others. Homer is on there holding the Iliad. It's pretty fantastic. I love it a lot, and I have a feeling I'm going to use it a lot. So yeah, those are all of the book-related things that happened over the past weekend. If you have been to BEA or have any questions about that, feel free to leave some comments or questions down below. I know that there isn't a lot of information out there about the whole Power Reader thing, so I'm definitely willing to answer questions about that whole area if you have any. So yeah, that's all I have for now, and thanks for watching.